certainly harder than most. I will tell you that as a general rule. So some of the stuff you will get definitely review on it. First thing we're doing is put this under integers. And under integers, we are adding them. Is it Tuesday?
Yep.
Friday. It is
Love
Friday.
going up.
I wish it wasn't Tuesday.
Adding integers, which is something you have done. I hate to, there's a few different ways to think about adding integers. And the problem with adding integers is that we're adding actually negative numbers together. So let's write down a few examples here. Let's say you have, and the book boggles us all down, but sometimes you see it like this, so we gotta do this. Let's say you have positive 6 plus positive 3. Okay? And what you can look at that like is a couple different ways. You could look at that as being on a number line. Okay? When you add, you're starting at 6 and you're just adding 3 to it. You're adding a positive 3. So 6 plus 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Puts you at 9. 6 plus a positive 3 equals 9. Another way to look at it is maybe you could look at it as having a bag. This is Mrs. Stone's kind of thing here. Have you ever taught protons and neutrons and all that sort of stuff, positives and negatives? If you start with 6 positives, which is what we do, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you add 3 more positives to it, you end up with a total of 9 positives. That's pretty simple because you've done adding positive numbers your whole entire life since the beginning of your earliest days. Okay, now let's change a couple of the signs here. Let's keep it a positive 6, but instead of adding a positive 3 to it, let's add a negative 3 to it. Okay, negative numbers, when you talk on number lines, you have to actually go backwards when you add them together. So you're still starting at positive 6, but a negative, okay, means you don't go 3 to the right, you actually go 3 to the left, and that will put you at a 3. And maybe it makes more sense when you do it, look at like in the science world, you're still starting with 6 positives, that's my positive 6, but to that I'm adding 3 negatives. And when you have a negative charge and a positive charge together, 1 for 1 they cross off. So you would actually X out a positive and a negative would cross out, a positive, negative cross out, positive, negative would cross out, and you're left with that balance of 3. In the math world, I say this, there is really no such thing as subtraction. You just add negatives. Because this problem is the same thing as 6 minus 3, which is what that kind of boils down to. Now that people kind of get that, but what happens when we start with a negative 6 plus a positive 3? Well, if you're looking at it on a number line, we'll do it both ways just because I know you're excited about that. Now I'm starting at a negative 6. Positive numbers, you jump to the right, so it's a negative 5, negative 4, negative 3 is where you end up with, because remember, negative numbers work backwards, negative 1, negative 2 if you're looking at a number line. So you end up with the what? Negative 3 was our answer. Again, thinking about that in terms of Mrs. Stone and science. Let me blow this out. How's that? Can you see that? Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. Sorry, it's here somewhere. Oh, is that not it? Where'd it go? Wasn't I doing it in blue? Oh, there it is. Here's my bag full of marbles. Oh no, full of positive and negative signs. What am I starting with this time? I'm starting with 6 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm adding 3 positives. And what happens? These 3 cancel each other out, and what are you left with? 3 negatives, which is what we have over here. Yes? Should we do this in 6th grade? A little bit. And then the last one we haven't looked at is, what about a negative 6 plus a negative 3? looking at the number line, we're starting at a -6, and remember negatives mean you go backwards. This would be a -7, -8, -9. -6 and a -3 is a -9. And looking at it in terms of putting them all into a big bag here, starting with 6 negatives and adding 3 more negatives to it, give you a total of 9 negatives there. Does that kind of make sense to you? Maybe, maybe not, maybe. Other ways you can, wow, wait, where'd it go? Did I start a whole new page? Oh, I did. What was I thinking? You know, another way to look at it is in terms of money, because money makes the world go round. Positive numbers are no money that you have. Negative numbers are money that you owe somebody. You know, if you have $6 and then you get 3 more, you have $9. If you have $6 and owe somebody $3, you have to give them those $3, and then you're left with a balance of 3 left over. You owe somebody $6, somebody gives you the $3 to give them, well, you give them the $3 that you have, how much you still owe them? $3. And if you owe somebody $6 and then you owe them $3 more, you're going to owe them $9. So with that being said, before Elijah falls too far asleep, let me give you a couple more just to make sure you kind of have this. How about this? Positive 8 plus negative 7, negative 8 plus negative 7, negative 8 plus positive 7, and positive 8 plus positive 7. Write me down the answers that you would get for those 4 problems. And I'm hoping this should not be, this is, by the way, this is not the hard part. This was not the part that I was talking about. The next thing I talk about is the hard part. This shouldn't be that too hard for you. And most of those parentheses are worthless, but I can't change that at this point yet. You should have gotten, in your 7th grade old mathematical minds here, what is a positive 8 plus a minus 7, Jenna Durbis? 1. And you don't need to put the positive in front of 1, we usually don't. What is a negative 8 plus a negative 7, Emily? Very good. Again, it's like you owe somebody $8 and then you owe them $7 more, you're going to owe them $15. What is a negative 8 plus a positive 7? Aubrey.
-1.
-1. And what is a positive 8 plus positive 7? Brianna? Positive 15. Or just 15. Okay. Now, here is something that you can notice, Jaden Shoot, and I know you are probably thinking about this, but maybe this will make your life ever so much easier. When the things you're adding together have the same sign, whether it be both negatives or both positives, what do you end up doing to those 2 numbers? Notice I got what from both of them? I add them together both times, right? Added 2 positives, got a bigger positive. When you add 2 negatives together, you end up getting a bigger negative. So when you add 2 numbers that have the same sign together, you actually end up adding them together and taking whatever sign they are. When they're opposite signs, guess what you do every time? 8 and 7, 8 and 7, both times I got 1, I end up subtracting. If they're different signs, you subtract them. Because we got to be able to do this with ginormous numbers. What if I have negative 635 plus positive 322? Those are opposite signs. When they're opposite signs that I'm adding together, ultimately I'm going to do what? I need to subtract those 2 numbers because I have to find out the difference in them. It's kind of foolish for me to sit here and draw 600 negative signs and 322 positive signs and try to figure out what they. You are just looking for the difference in these 2 numbers because the difference is how many more negative signs you have than positive signs. So in the end, you're going to take 635, subtract 322 from it, you'll get 313, You have by far more negatives than positives, so that's what makes it a negative sign there.
Is everybody relatively happy with that?
Do you have any questions? Because I really gotta get to what the hard stuff is for today. Ready? Take a deep breath, because if I don't do that, sorry.
Lefty drill.
Sorry about